Good evening, friends. I have started my 10 p.m. live, which I'm doing daily, a little early today. So while you join, I will explain to you two, three things which are very important to deal with Twitter, to deal with leftist media, and to deal with accountability and responsibility. And lastly, the legal solutions to it. So it's a four-part thing, specifically designed to deal with Twitter. One joke, which I've already covered, of all of you needing to brush, else Modi ji gets blamed. You can see that video already. And third, my representation to the government, to the Honorable Home Minister, saying exactly all this. That time, nobody was talking about it. This is January 2019. Now, everybody says Twitter is biased. I had said that they will play games. In 2019, the mood of the nation was so overwhelmingly pro the prime minister that in 2019 it was a tsunami. You won bigger than 2014, so they could not play games. But I told you that when it becomes a closer election, let's be very honest, COVID is a crisis where the government has suffered a loss of reputation. And when it becomes a close election, that is why they will play games. When you are ahead by 50%, they don't play games. When it's a tight election, that's when they play the games. But frankly, and I will show you that it's on record that I had said all this and made a representation also, warned of this also. Nothing is hidden. So if you are joining for the first time since I have started very early today, do subscribe. I have no fixed time of doing live. I can do it anytime. So please do join and get a notification. The purpose of not uploading a video and doing live is to interact with you. Your comments influence my replies. I mean, very, very blunt with you and very honest with you. I do live so that I can take your comments and I can reply to them. Or at least I know a lot of you ask, can I read it when I'm doing this? Yes, I can't read everything. Maybe I missed 10 and I read one. Maybe I missed 20 and I read one. But that one I try to answer. And I maybe miss 20, maybe I miss 50 and I read one. Because I'm speaking, reading, my chain of thought is going in the head. But I try to. So that's why I do live. So please do join if you subscribe. So now what is this Twitter thing? I was on ABP News and I said three things, three major points. First point I said, is Twitter leftist? Well, this is not me saying. This is Jack Dorsey, the CEO of Twitter, admitting himself to another leftist channel, CNN, in the United States of America, that they have a left bias. When the CEO, basically in simple language, obviously a company CEO is not the owner, but basically the owner of a company says this, in polite language, we have a left bias. You can understand they don't have a left bias. They are left to a great degree. Don't believe my words for it. Believe NDTV words for it. Or would you like to believe Washington Post words for it? This is the interview to CNN, covered by Washington Post, another leftist. In an interview to Brian Selter of CNN, he says, I think we need to constantly show we're not adding government, which I fully admit is more left leaning, which I fully admit. This is not me. Can you read this? This is Jack Dorsey, the CEO. Is Ishkaran saying this? Somebody here replied, and I'll say, Ishkaran, sorry for coming late. Well, frankly, Devashish, you are not late. I'm early. That is why I say subscribe and keep the bell icon on. I don't have a fixed time. Whenever I get time and I want to discuss something with you, share something with you, I come. And one announcement, tomorrow 10 p.m. do join here. It will be a very informative conversation. I have a special guest and I am sick of hearing that Bharat always lost. We had Islamic invasion, then we had British imperialism. We are a 10,000 plus year old civilization. We have won for 90% of our times. 90%. And we will win again. So I want to tell the correct history. So please do join. Anyways, so 10 p.m. tomorrow. So this person, the CEO says, have you read this? Can I change it? That I fully admit my bias is more left leaning. Okay, now let's come to Silicon Valley. Okay, this is a nice comment. I'll take this. Oh yeah, all companies based in Silicon Valley have left leaning leaning algorithms, including blah 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 blah. You can give examples. Anybody who has traveled to California, SF, or the Silicon Valley knows it, that it is not bias they hide. They proudly say we are leftist. They proudly say it because they believe in it and there's nothing wrong. But now those believers of leftist ideology control the algorithm. Nothing new. Leftists have controlled our universities in India, our education system in India, and now they control the newspapers. There was, I think, a period of 5-7 years where the internet was actually free. There was this 5-7-8 year period when internet was actually free. Now, people from newspapers, the editors in journalism have basically shifted to controlling fact checking, to controlling social media. So it's basically the same drift now. Let's be very frank about it. Okay. So that has happened. Anyways, so this is Jack Dorsey saying it on not my channel, on CNN, covered by Washington Post. Now let me give you the leftist darling in India. Leftist darling in India. Not me. Twitter CEO admits left-leaning bias. August 2018. This is not me. This is the darling, the leftist gospel in India. This is them saying that they are more left-leaning. This is the CEO saying, understand this, more left-leaning. NDTV, this is not, what is the right-wing channels in India, any channel right-wing in India. This is NDTV saying it. More left-leaning. Okay? No doubt. NDTV. I don't think so. I can give you bigger proof that this is an authentic statement. So when the owner says this, that I'm left-leaning, you can understand what the employees are. Hard left. I've given you 10 times example. Me, a Twitter account with more than 3.5 lakh followers is not verified. My verification is you who are joining me, even though I'm very early. Some of you must have thought you will join at 10 p.m. and still so many are joining me. That's your love. And I must say, we have become a 50,000 strong family on English. So thank you for joining, for finding my talks something you want to listen to, for finding my guests something you want to listen to. That's my verification. That in just a month, under a month, since my first video on English channel, we are 50,000 strong people, family. But on bias, I'll say you have seen so many accounts just on maths with 2,000 followers verified. Me will not be verified because I speak what I think is in the best interest of Bharat. Sometimes I question the Modi government. Sometimes I attack the Modi government. Sometimes I support the Modi government. But that is government. When it comes to Bharat, when it comes to India, I always speak what I believe is in the best interest of Mother India. So Twitter will play its algorithm games every second. They will delete my followers. I get a notification of, this is an example I'm giving you because this is what I raised with the Home Minister. I get notification of 300, 500 people joining me in a day. And end of the day, I see Twitter has reduced my follower count by 20 people or 50 people. It's an algorithm. So many of you say on YouTube, you don't get my notification. So many on Hindi YouTube say they don't get my notification. Well, that's just a reality. Who cares? We have to keep doing our job. Now, who is not doing the job? So I was on ABP debate and I raised first point, which so many said they did not know. Jack Dorsey has admitted they have a left bias. Second point, I warned the government by informing them that Twitter will play these games when you have a tight election. I don't care. You want to vote out the prime minister, you want to make anybody else the prime minister, please do. That is your democratic right, freely made. You want to give the prime minister a third term, please do. It is your democratic right. You want to make anybody you desire as a prime minister, please do. No problems. I have defended every citizen of Delhi when they vote one way in state election, one way in Lok Sabha election. It is their democratic right. Same people vote so differently in 6 months. They are right. But when a foreign company will influence that right, that is when I have a problem. That is when I have a problem. And I won this in 2019, and it's printed in Organizer. You all know Organizer, I think. Can you see it? My warning was covered by Organizer. 1 second, sorry. Can you see it? Organizer. And you know, my warning was covered by Organizer. And I said, since sinister attempts are made to subvert, my problem is if you subvert a foreign does subversion of our democratic process. Whomsoever you vote is your choice. I will very rarely tell you whom to vote for. I will have my choices. My choices will change with time. My choices will remain the same. Depends on how I think that what is good for Bharat Mata. But I want this sincere attempts are being made to subvert the democratic and political process to dictate a biased narrative to influence the 2019 election through popular social media platforms, specifically Twitter, the microblogging platform hijacked by neo-left intellectuals, media, pseudo-seculars. And then you can see some other tweets they covered. And this is what I said in my complaint to the Home Minister. Down ranking. Basically, they lower your tweets so you cannot find the tweets. Okay, that's called down ranking. Shadow banning is when you try to find a name, you will not be able to find him, or the tweet will not show in your timeline. That is why on YouTube I keep saying subscribe, because if I want to spread my word to as many people as I can. That's what makes it worth the effort. And thank you so much for joining and making us on English in under a month a 50,000 strong family. I didn't expect that. I thought we will be 50,000 strong a little later, but thank you all for making us a 50,000 strong family. Then I talked about suspension of accounts by Twitter. Then I talked about retweets and likes being deleted. Oh, I tweeted a video of this also once. This is 2 years ago. I tweeted a video where the likes of my tweet went down with time. With time. It went down. I tweeted that. Yeah, I wish I can show you that. Ishan Khatri, love your work. Stop feeling empathy for BJP. BJP tech funds their events. I don't have any empathy for them, Ishan. When I come to my conclusion, in the night I did on this YouTube, and I said this, that if after 300 MPs, Twitter says on a big political stand you have taken, that toolkit is Congress. You have taken that stand. Ishkaran hasn't. Ishan hasn't. That if you have taken this stand, I am more comfortable in English. I try to do both here. Jitna time hai, I try to do both English, Hindi. My Hindi channel is there. I will comment it, tweet it in the comment. And I try to do different videos. And this is lockdown. Once the court starts, I'll obviously be a lot less on this. And on Hindi both. But right now I have time, and let's keep on growing our family, and we'll see when the court starts how it happens. So I have sympathy. You can see my night video. I said if with 300 MPs, they do this to you, that on a 3-day campaign by you, in which you believe Congress did XYZ, they come out and say it's misleading, and you can do nothing about it. You deserve it. See, I am not BJP member. I have never tried to ask BJP for some post that make me this, make me that. I speak what I believe. And so I'm being very blunt. If after 300 MPs this happens to you, you deserve it, yeah? So I'm not having any sympathy. You have the power. If you don't use that power, if your followers get blocked, nationalistic people who tweet pro BJP get blocked, or if people who are pro BJP get suspended, big accounts have gotten suspended who are very pro BJP. You know that. I can give you 20 examples. Right? You may agree with Kangana, you may disagree with Kangana. Her views are something you may not agree with, some you may agree with. That's your choice. But she's always pro government. She gets suspended, no? Permanently. And so many others. And so many others. Right? That is my problem. And what did I say? In action all the time, Sibani Panigra. Where are you from? Panigra, that's a surname I've not heard before. So that's what happens. So what did I want? It was covered by Organizer, which is an RSS leaning magazine. And what did I say? And then you please see my complaint. Nothing. I'll bring it on record and you can see the date of the complaint, please. Can you see the date of the complaint? If India controls Twitter, won't drop error. I never said ban Twitter. Kunal, did I say that? I will come to the solutions in the end. You can ask me this again. You can ask me this again and I will answer that. Okay. Hardly. Okay. Let me answer this. Before I answer this, let me show you this on record, not something I'm saying now, something I said in January of 2019, and I said it to the Home Minister of this country. कहाँ है? ये है? I think so. नहीं, ये नहीं है. ये है. I think yes, ये है. ये है. एक तो ना इतना मल्टीटास्किंग जब कर रहा था. हाँ, yes. Met the Honorable Home Minister, handed over my representation against Twitter, biased behavior. This is my account on Twitter, just for the record. It's some people have asked me, is it my genuine account because it's not a tick mark? Yes, because there is an alphabet limit with the @ so one A is missing, but yes, it is my genuine account, and you can see my photo and Ishkaran Singh Bhandari, so you will be able to find it. There is a visible bias in Twitter. Down ranking, they reduce your tweet so people can't see it. Search result, you can't find the tweet. Shadow banning, suspension of accounts. These are some of the ways I spoke. Then another page of it, third page, Senate and House of, I gave US examples of what you can did. I gave examples of India. So I gave many examples here. Okay. Somebody's asked me a question, sorry. People should move to coup. No, that won't be a solution. Practically, I'll tell you why. Can we come to the solutions towards the end? Let me first, as they say, build my case, get all the facts out, and then I will come to solution. Okay. And then I will come to the solution. So what would be when I won this in 2019, now it did not happen in 2019, I'll tell you very honestly. Why? Because BJP got 300 seats and the nearest rival, Congress, got 50 seats. It wasn't an election. Even a deaf person could hear the roar of BJP victory. A blind person could see the limits of BJP victory. It wasn't a close election at all, except 5-10% completely one-sided people who were wishing. It wasn't a close election. So what can a company do in a close election? Nothing. Because the gap is so big. In North India, BJP was almost 50% of vote. So gap was too huge. They could do nothing. And when I say BJP was 50% of vote, the opposition was, let's say in Delhi, AAP and Congress. So opposition was and independents. When I say 50% of vote, in UP, opposition was Mayawati and Akhilesh were together, but it was still divided. So many smaller independent parties were there. Rajasthan, Madhya Pradesh, etc. So in a multiple party system, BJP has come to power at 31%. In North India, they were near 50%. So it wasn't a close election. It doesn't matter what Twitter does. If it is a close election, and I'm being very frank, I am not defending the BJP at all on this. They have Lot to answer for COVID. COVID has been a massive tragedy of India, and yes, the government could have done better. State governments also and central also. So if it is a close election, that is when games happen. That is when games happen. Games don't happen in a one-way election. When India has scored 450 runs and somebody chasing is 40 for 4, umpire will not give a wrong decision of not out to opposition player who's out. Doesn't matter, yeah. India has 400 runs. They are 40 for 4. If you give not out, it will still be 40 for 4. Right? 40 runs for 4 wickets. They can't win it. But if it is India has scored 250 and they are 125 for 2, very close, fight is on, then your decision matters. That is exactly what it is about close elections and social media. So I warned all this. Now comes to the third point, which you all asked. Do I have sympathy? Do I have sympathy? I'll say this. I will say this. That Twitter has changed the. See, Twitter in a sense is almost a monopolistic platform when it comes to political discourse. Just the way it is built, right? You can retweet, you can tweet, you can get into argument on Facebook. What will you argue with? On Instagram, what will you argue with? On YouTube, you can spread information. Some YouTubers fight with each other. That is okay. And you can use it a lot to spread information. In fact, I think YouTube is the best means of spreading information because, see, I'm talking for 20 minutes. Even on TV, in 1 hour, we speak for 4-5 minutes. Everybody else speaks, the anchor speaks, ads happen, right? Here, I'm speaking 20 minutes non-stop. Right? Nikhil Bhandari. Okay, Mr. Bhandari. I've been losing sleep by such behavior. I think they have gotten into what is called trying to win what you cannot win. Some people will oppose you, but if they start weighing on your mind, like I speak something here, some people will come and speak PR on this, on Hindi channel. I'll call them mandaks. I don't respond to them, I block them if I notice them. I don't even argue. I have nothing. If you are a mandak doing PR, if you're asking me a question, please ask me any question, polite language. If you're asking me a question in a bad language, I'll block you. I don't need to discuss with you. But what happens sometimes, people start getting affected by those who speak ill, or you have some insecurity that you want their approval. Then it's an insecurity thing. Do I want New York Times approval? Do I want Washington Post's approval? If that is there in my mind, I start seeking the opinion of those people who did not vote for me, but who have some influence. Then I make mistakes. Simple. Then I make mistakes. If I say, yeah, one thing I would say I very much found very interesting, Assam election. I have known personal knowledge of the chief minister there. Right? He's come from Congress, right? And people in politics change their stand. Tomorrow he could be some other party. I'm being very blunt with you. Today he's BJP CM. I don't know what he will do tomorrow. But what I liked is his clarity of thought as an individual. Forget parties for a second. Please see his clarity of thought process. His clarity of thought was there that I don't remember last time I heard somebody contesting an election in which he could become the CM saying this bluntly. I know Muslims will not vote for me. Do you remember anybody saying it? Please tell me if you remember anybody saying it. That clarity of thought. I know what will vote for me. I know what will not vote for me. I know who will listen to me. I know who will not listen to me. That clarity of thought in any individual is extremely interesting to see. So when you ask me why this, why that, sometimes you start believing sabka kar dunga aur sare mujhe kar denge. Maybe. That's all I can say. You have to be clear of who are your supporters and who are not. That's my view. You could have a different view, and if you have a different view, please comment that why do you think uh, they allow Twitter to ban strong voices of theirs? They allow Twitter to reduce strong voices of theirs. If you have an answer, you can answer. See, I don't know the Sam CM personally. I'm just speaking one part of clarity of his thought process, right? We can, on a public figure, we can talk about his, and I'm appreciating it. His thought process is very clear. Similarly, a thought process could be very clear that these people will vote for me. It's just a thought process which is very clear. That's all I'm saying. So now that you ask me, I think Twitter will play games. It's for the government to do action. In fact, on the toolkit, you have seen my tweet, right? I told you I don't believe in shouting from the rooftop and trying to believe I am. Some people try to do what? I am more right wing than you. I am more right wing than you. I am more right wing than you. I am more nationalistic than you. I am more nationalistic than you. It's okay, yaar. I'm not going to compete, nor should you. When the toolkit came, I said the allegations are very serious. If you believe those allegations, then you are honestly more or less leaning towards BJP. If you don't believe those allegations, you're leaning towards Congress. But I said the allegations are so serious that we need investigation, we need charge sheet, we need action. Right? We need action. If you will not take action, what are we to say? Some of the allegations, I've been on TV and I've spoken that. You've seen me on TV, right? And you've seen me speaking this on that beds will be blocked. That's such a serious allegation. How can you not investigate it and take action on people if they did it? And if they haven't done it, Congress has registered FIRs. Understand it. Congress is the one which has registered FIR. What do I answer to that? What do I answer on that? Okay, I'll take this question, Tanya. What if BJP ban? Tanya, I cannot say anything one way or the other. That is why I see there was a time in India. There are two questions. Lot of people believe Congress is potentially capable of doing something like this. But that time was 2018-19. Now people want action. Now people want conclusion. If Congress did it, take action. Otherwise, what? 3 days you got TV time. 3 days it was a big issue. Fourth day people forget. And then what will happen? What will happen then? After 4 days? If you don't take action, after 5 days, what will happen? So that is the reality. Anyways, so my view is very clear. If Twitter has leftist bias, if Jack Dorsey has said he is leftist, you are the union government, what will you do? And if you don't do something, then whom to blame, yeah? Who has the power? Who has the power? Then whom to blame? That's a question you need to ask yourself. You need to ask yourself. The one who has the power has to take action. And if you are saying a party like leftist, how many MPs does left have? It got zero in West Bengal, their home state. If they are still controlling the narrative after 7 years, whom do you blame again? If after 7 years they're again controlling the narrative, I understand somebody who has MPs controlling the narrative. It's okay. If you came to me and said BJP is using all its resources to control the conversation, control the narrative, I would say, okay, they have 300 MPs, what to do? But if you say people with 0, 5, 10 MPs, 20 MPs are controlling the narrative in India, then you need to introspect. Then you please introspect. That's as simple as that. Now, please join tomorrow at 10 p.m. I am sick of this history being told that Bharat and Bharat kings always lost, that we had invasions of people and that established the Mughal dynasty. Then we had British imperialism. I will discuss with you all the great kings of India. If we lived, if we have, we are much older, but scientific proof, which the West believes, is that we are at least 10 to 12,000 years old, right? In that, if 700 800 years we had a time of that time also, large part of India's were not invaded. But you imagine out of 12,000 years, 700 800 years, that's not even 8%, 7% of our history. We will discuss the 90% of our history tomorrow, 10 p.m. Do join. Good night.